Hey everyone, my name is Brittany and welcome back to my American Girl collection. So today I will be doing a part 3 to a series that I am doing to introduce all of my dolls. So the first video was this one right here, where I talked about the dolls in my childhood collection. And then the second video is this one right here, where I talked about what got me back into collecting American Girl as an adult, and the first couple dolls that started that journey again. And then the next video was this one right here, where I talked about the dolls that I added to my collection in 2023. And that leads us to today, where I'll be talking about the dolls that I added to my collection in 2024. So feel free to go back and watch some of those videos if you're interested. If not, feel free to keep hanging out here, maybe grab a drink of water, some food, some snacks, do some chores, whatever you want to do while we talk about the dolls that I got in 2024. So let's go ahead and start off with the first doll, and I added this doll to my collection on January 5th. So I didn't waste any time, unfortunately, and that's because I was shopping once again on Facebook Marketplace, and I saw a good deal for a Kira doll, Girl of the Year 2021. So this doll actually was not out, or I think she might have been out a little bit when I started collecting again. However, I did not collect when she was released, so I didn't get to experience like her release date. I know that there's a lot of conversation about how she looks similar to Julie. So I actually did not have a huge interest in adding her to my collection when I did get back into collecting again. However, she did grow on me over time, and I do see some differences between the two dolls. And Julie was also my sister's doll, as you may have seen in my one video. So because of that, I didn't have a huge deep connection with Julie. I had not really spent a lot of time with that doll growing up, so that was another reason for me to consider adding Kira to my collection. So what had happened was, I think probably towards the end of 2023 was when she had sold out on the American Girl website. I don't remember exactly when. If you happen to, feel free to let me know in the comments. But then it was around that time that I saw the prices for this doll start to skyrocket on the secondary market, and I was pretty disappointed. I had realized I had kind of missed out on getting her for a good price through American Girl, and was left with all the expensive prices online. However, that is when I found this doll, so that's why I went ahead and purchased her that January. And I just think that she is such a stunning doll. I love how her green eyes really match her green skirt, or shorts, I'm not sure what you would call these, from her meat outfit, and I just think she is so beautiful. And so I added her to my collection in the beginning of 2024, and I've enjoyed having her. I honestly haven't changed her outfit much. I've mainly just put her in outfits that I do happen to have from her collection, but I think she's so adorable, and I'm very grateful that I was able to get her, especially at a time where the prices were pretty expensive, and thankfully I did actually end up paying less than what she would have been at retail. So this is my Kira doll. So this next doll I purchased just 3 days after I had bought Kira, but wait, I did have a good reason, and that is Facebook Marketplace. So I had actually seen this doll listed before I had reached out and purchased Kira, but the reason that I wasn't really interested in buying it before was because the price was a bit more than what I was willing to pay, and this doll came in a lot. So after I had purchased Kira, I had noticed that the seller had lowered the price of the lot in about half. So at that point, not only was it a great deal to add this doll to my collection, but all the outfits and other dolls included, I could definitely justify purchasing that lot. So I reached back out and I picked up the doll, and that is Miss Marie Grace. And this is a doll that I was hoping to purchase at some point within that year to add to my collection. So I am currently trying to complete the historical line, so that was one reason why I wanted to add her. Also, you might have seen in my last video with the dolls I added to my collection in 2023 that I had just recently purchased Cecile. So I felt like Cecile needed her best friend. So when I saw this lot come available, especially for the cheaper price, I just knew that this was the perfect Marie Grace to add to my collection. And also I was a little picky when it came to the exact Marie Grace I wanted. I really wanted one that still had the pin curls in good condition, and I did have to fix up her hair a bit, but her pin curls were perfect, and I noticed that in the listing, and that's what really drew me to this doll specifically. So I actually have kept her in her meet outfit. I haven't changed her since I got her, which I know was over a year ago, but I also haven't changed my Cecile out of her meet outfit, so that's part of my reasoning. I feel like I've really enjoyed having these two in my collection, and I just never imagined having the opportunity to have either of them in my collection. So I've really just been enjoying just the moment of having them into my collection and getting to see them as they appeared in the catalog when I was a kid. So I am very grateful that I added her, and I think at some point I might make a video where I talk about some of my Facebook Marketplace finds, because the lot that I purchased her in is actually a pretty cool story about how that came to be, and the other dolls that were included with her are actually not going to be in this video. Either they're currently in my doll like purgatory, which are basically my dolls that I am in the process of still restoring or rewigging, or they are now in other collections being loved by other kids or adult collectors. So at some point I'll probably talk a bit more about what that lot looked like, because it was a pretty cool story of how it happened. And the seller was about 45 minutes away from where I live, so my husband and I actually took a day trip and walked around like the downtown area, and it was like a beautiful like snowy winter day, and we really just had a great time. So I also have a lot of great memories from that day of adding her to my collection. So I guess you could say that 2024 was off to a good start or a bad start, depending on how you wanted to look at it. Definitely a good start because I had added 2 dolls into my collection unexpectedly that were both on my wish list, but off to a bad start a bit because it was within the same week, and that was also the first week of January that I had already added 2 dolls into my collection. So my wallet definitely took a hit, so I decided to take a bit of a break before adding any more dolls to my collection, which was actually good timing anyways, because unfortunately I found out that at the job I was working at the time that they had to shut down our program due to budget cuts, and I work in the helping profession, so at this point my focus was really on trying to help my clients, because this was news that was sudden to both me and to them, to help support them in providing different services and options so that they could have continuity of care. So because of that, January to March in general was a very stressful time as we were trying to wrap up and close out our program suddenly. And so in about halfway through March, I had started a new job after that, and I remember randomly asking my husband late at night if we could go to the American Girl store the next day, and I do live about an hour and a half from a store, which I'm very grateful to live so close to one, and he said that we would. Or that we could, and I was honestly very surprised by that. I would say we're spontaneous people, but we don't always get the opportunity to do spontaneous things. So the next day we went to the American Girl store and I added Claudie to my collection. And this doll I had wanted for so long. So this is 2024 and she was released shortly after I got back into collecting in the fall of 2022. So I had wanted her since she was released, but I wanted to pick her out in store. And so I finally had that opportunity. And I just absolutely love having this doll in my collection. I love her face mold. I think she's beautiful. I wish American Girl would do more for Claudie because she definitely deserves it. And thankfully I know collectors really love Claudie in general. Oh, she lost a shoe. So I think that at least helps make up for a bit, because I know many people love Claudie, and many people on Etsy create different outfits just specifically for her, and I love that because she deserves all the love and all the support. So I'll bring my Claudie a bit closer to the screen. I just love her curls. I was worried and a bit nervous about taking out her bow, just because I didn't want to like mess up her beautiful hair, but her bow just didn't really fit well with this outfit. And this is really just a mix and match outfit. She's wearing Julie's meat pants, this American Girl Pleasant Company top, and then these boots I think are for maybe the coconut play outfit. I'm not sure, but they're just really, really cute. I guess they're more of sandals. I don't know why I said boots. But yeah, I can put quality in anything though, and she looks great. So this is just like a random casual outfit that I put together and that she's been in for a while now because I just think she is adorable. So at the end of April, my husband and I actually moved back into with his family for a few months, and that was because our lease was ending and we were going to be moving about 2 hours away. So we were kind of in like an awkward, like in between stage. So thankfully, they said it was okay if we lived with them for a couple months. So I actually had to pack up all of my dolls and I put them in storage and I took them to my mom's house. And it was hard to do, but also in some way I was excited for that feeling of bringing all my dolls out of storage in a couple months and almost feeling like they're brand new again, like taking them out of the boxes, putting them back on display. So though it was hard putting it away, all of my collection, I was excited to take it back out again, if that makes any sense. So we moved in with them at the end of April. And then at some point, Amazon had a deal where I did end up buying a doll. She won't be shown in this video though. She's currently a doll that I'm re-wigging. So I'll probably show her at some other point. But in June of 2024, my husband and I attended a event at the American Girl store closest to us. And that event was my first one and only one that I've ever attended. And it was so much fun. American Girl actually did not have any like new released items, I don't think, at the event. There was a couple items that they had released, but it was like right beforehand and they weren't like event exclusive. So as terms, when it comes to like American Girl events, I heard many people say that this one wasn't very spectacular, but I honestly did not care. I was just so excited to be there, and there were so many fun snacks and foods and drinks, and my husband and I, we made it a whole day trip again, and we just had a blast. And I had it in my mind that I wanted to get 2 dolls specifically on that trip. And there's a reason I wanted to get these 2 together. So the first doll is Nikki, and you may guess that the second doll is Isabel. So these 2 were also released, I think, in 2023. So they had been on my wish list for a while. And I do actually have Nikki and Isabel both in my collection, which I've shown in previous videos. So I did rename these 2 dolls, and I had their names picked out shortly after they were released. And this one right here is Nicole in my collection. And then Nikki, I renamed her as Nikita. So in my collection, I know them as Nicole and Nikita. And yeah, I've really enjoyed having both. Very grateful that I was able to save up and purchase both also while I was at the store. These are 2 dolls that I did also want to pick out in person. And it was just a very special day that I was able to share that with my husband and do it at the American Girl event. So something else that makes these 2 dolls pretty special to me is they were actually my gift to myself for finishing my grad program in social work. So I finished that program at the end of 2023. So December is when I graduated, but because of everything that I had shared with my job and with moving, we had just not had the chance to celebrate in that way. So I was super excited to add both of these dolls to my collection, and this was like my gift to myself. I remember in the last couple months of my grad program, I would just keep in mind that I'm almost done. And when I'm done, I'll be adding these 2 dolls to my collection, and it'll be so much fun. And sometimes when I had a really big project or a paper, I'd actually imagine myself like going to the doll store and picking out the dolls and just the excitement. So yeah, it was really awesome that I was able to add both to my collection, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. This next doll I also purchased in June, and the timing of it is kind of weird because I technically purchased her before I went to the doll store, but it did take her a couple weeks to arrive, so I consider her after Nicole and Nikita in my collection because I received her after in the mail. So this doll is Melody, And Melody was also on my wish list, and I was specifically after one of the dolls with the older face mold. So this one actually I believe was Be Forever. I do have her box somewhere around here. What really caught my eye about this listing was just how adorable she is. I just think her bangs are perfect, her face is perfect, and she's so cute. Also, she was new in box. So the seller didn't look like they were very familiar with American Girl, but I did pay about what you would pay for a new in-box Melody currently through American Girl, which I was okay with. But considering she was the older face mold and she was still new in box, it was still, in my opinion, a great deal. And I was so grateful that I was able to add her to my collection. Right now I have her wearing one of Julie's outfits. I'm kind of blanking on the name right now. I want to say it's her calico dress. That might not be right. Feel free to let me know in the comments what the name of this outfit is. And these are not the boots that go with this outfit. These boots actually go to her dog walking outfit. But yes, I absolutely love her, and she is so cute. I've really been enjoying putting her in some of Julie's outfits recently, just because their decades are close enough in my mind that I sometimes do change or interchange their clothes, but for the most part though, I do have some outfits from her collection that I'm excited about. I know American Girl just released the outfit that goes with her hair salon, and I'm super excited to hopefully add that to my collection too. I think it looks stunning on Melody. So this next doll I added to my collection towards the end of June, and that was because this was a Facebook Marketplace purchase. I wasn't planning on adding another doll. However, I could not pass up on this deal, and I'm really excited to share with you all more in depth in another video the story of how this doll came into my collection. But in the meantime, I'll go ahead and show her now. So this is Miss McKenna, and I did get her, like I said, off of Facebook Marketplace, and there's kind of a cool story behind this doll in general. So when I was a kid, my sister wanted McKenna. This was the doll that she had, I guess you could say, called when we were looking at the magazine. When she came out, she basically said, I want to get McKenna. And because she said that, that meant that I couldn't get McKenna. That was like our sister code. So at the time, I helped my sister save up for her. I helped her create this little jar, and we decorated it with printed photos of McKenna's collection. She would put in cash from like her birthday or money from our grandma, basically anything she could find, and she wanted to have enough to buy McKenna's starter collection. So some time went by and she was so close to getting it. However, she ended up finding some squinkies. I'm not sure if anyone remembers those, but I'll insert a photo of what squinkies are that she really wanted instead. So she took some money out of the jar and bought those, and that's kind of how it went. Next thing you know, the jar was empty and no McKenna. So McKenna ended up retiring, and my sister was not able to add her to my collection. Which was okay, because I know that my sister enjoyed those other toys that she had purchased, but she was, I think, a bit sad that she never did get to add her to her collection. So what I did is, after I got her off of Facebook Marketplace, I did fix her up, and she was in pretty good condition though overall, and I surprised my sister with her, and she was very surprised to see McKenna, and I showed her to her, and that was her first time seeing this doll in person. I mean, it was the first time for either of us, and then I also showed her to my nephew too, and I told him that story of how like his mom really wanted this doll when she was a kid. So this makes McKenna very special in my collection, and with the inclusion of McKenna in Lila's story, I wanted to make sure I had McKenna in my collection before adding Lila. It just seemed like that would be the right way to do it in my mind, chronologically. So I was very grateful to see McKenna on Facebook Marketplace local to me. So here she is, and I just think she's so beautiful. I love that she doesn't have a part like in her hair. I know she's one of the few dolls that American Girl has made with that feature, so that makes her unique. Also, that story or that movie is just so memorable in my mind. I remember watching it as a kid, like with my sister, and again, that experience of helping my sister save up for McKenna was also just a great memory of my childhood. So very grateful that I have her now and that I was also able to surprise my sister and my nephew with her. Oh, and I forgot to mention that McKenna is Girl of the Year 2012. So on to the next doll. This doll I actually added to my collection in July. Once again, Facebook Marketplace. And I purchased her when my husband and I were visiting the town that we were moving to. We were looking at apartments and we had just kind of taken a day trip there. And I had seen this listing a few days before because I was looking ahead just to see, since we were traveling, that maybe there were some cool doll finds in the area. And I saw this listing and had reached out to the seller, and thankfully she was available that day for me to pick her up. And that's how I added Joss to my collection. So she's Girl of the Year 2020. So I was not collecting when she came out, but I just think she is so cute. And then she's also the originator, of course, of the Joss mold. So I'll go ahead and bring her closer to the camera. I like to have like her hair usually pinned back on one side at least. I think that's really cute. And she is also wearing her hearing aid right here. Okay, so her shirt is from Closet for Chloe on Etsy, and then I have it over top of like her meat outfit undershirt. It might be a swim shirt. I'm not sure. And then her shorts also from her meat outfit, and then her shoes are also the pink shoes from her meat outfit. And I think that Joss is so cute. I'm very grateful that I was able to add her to my collection, and it also was a good find too, and it just added to the excitement of exploring this new area that we were going to be moving to. Sorry about that. I think my lighting went out for a second when I was showing the last doll, but I do think that I fixed it. And you might hear my husband in the background a bit. He's on the phone with one of his friends, and we do live in an apartment, and this was unfortunately the only night that I had to film this video, so hopefully though you can't hear him too much, but thanks for bearing with me. So these next two dolls I added to my collection in July as well, actually a couple days later, because I was on Facebook Marketplace, and that's the dangerous thing, is it's hard to shop Facebook Marketplace because at least when I go on, I usually see multiple things that I want, so that's how sometimes I end up buying multiple dolls back to back if they were good deals. So anyways, these two dolls came together, so I will show them together. And the first doll is Tenny, and this doll I was not collecting at the time when this doll was released, and I know that there's definitely been a lot of like conversation and controversy surrounding this doll, a lot of speculation that she was supposed to be the Girl of the Year, the year Gabriella was made the Girl of the Year. I was not really a huge fan of, I think, just like her face like makeup and like the way she, I guess, her overall appearance. However, I will say though that this doll has grown on me a lot, and that was one reason why I did end up wanting to add her to my collection. And then when I picked her up in person, I was just kind of taken aback by just how cute she was. I remember taking her back home with me, and I just sat her there like on my desk and just kind of looked at her for a bit while I was doing things, and she is so beautiful. So I'm very grateful that I did kind of take that leap of faith and add her to my collection. And she did come with her friend Logan, which if you've seen, I'm just going to sit Tenny there. If you've seen my last video for dressing my dolls in outfits inspired by fairy tales and Disney characters, then you would have seen him. I have him dressed currently as Jack from the story Jack and the Beanstalk, and I think he is so cute. Again, another doll that wasn't really on my radar at the time, but I'm very grateful that I did add him to my collection. And I've been enjoying having another boy doll to go with Sam, my other boy doll. So this doll also is technically a doll that I got with my nephew Grayson in mind. So I know he enjoys playing with this doll too when he comes over. So I'll just show them both together so you can see both Tenny and Logan together. And yeah, I think that they are very great dolls and good additions to my collection. And I was grateful too that I was able to buy them together. There was something about getting to keep both of them together, knowing that they were in another collection together and now they're in my collection together. That just added to it and made it even more special for me. So the next doll that I added to my collection was Truly Me 123, and I got her actually on my birthday. I had purchased her before, but she arrived on my birthday, and that's towards the end of July. And I just think that this doll is so cute. And I did also recently feature her in my video for AG Fashion Week, so feel free to go and check that out if you'd like to know a bit more about her outfit. So I absolutely love having Charlotte in my collection, and I'm also a big fan of the McKenna mold. I know I mentioned that when I was showing McKenna as well in one of my videos, that I really love this face mold. And I was also specifically after a Truly Me 123 that was part of the donut pajama set from Costco. I don't know why, but when I saw this doll released in that set specifically, that's when I really fell in love with 123. So for some reason I was after that specific doll from that set. However, I didn't have a Costco membership, so it took me a while to add her to my collection, and that is why I ended up getting her in 2024, which I think was probably a little over a year later. I can't remember exactly when Costco had released that set. Maybe that was actually just in the fall of 2023. So maybe it was more like 6 months later. But very grateful though that I have Charlotte and I was able to get her new in box in that set as well. So around the same time, Amazon had their Prime Day sales, and I did end up adding a doll to my collection that was on my wish list for a while, and that is Truly Me number 89, and I have named her Eden in my collection, and I just think that this name is very fitting for her. I absolutely love her beautiful hair with the blues and the greens, and what really drew me to this doll was honestly her makeup, like having the darker lips and the hazel eyes. I think that these features just go so well with her hair, and I think they also make her pretty unique because you don't see many American girls with like the darker lip paint. And I have her currently in Melody's meat outfit, minus the socks, because I needed to steal those for an outfit with the for AG Fashion Week. But besides that, she is wearing Melody's meat outfit, and I have had her actually in this outfit for a couple months now, and that is because it just looks so good on her. And with her hair, I'll turn her around too so you can just see more of her curls and how it just matches perfectly this dress. So if you happen to have Truly Me number 89 and you happen to have Melody's meat outfit, I definitely recommend giving it a try because she is so cute, and I've really enjoyed having her in my collection. This next doll was a pretty big purchase for me, and that is because she is my first collector doll in my collection, and I did get her secondhand. She was out of the box, and she did not come with her original outfit, so that also cut the cost too that I paid for this doll, and that is because she is the FAO Schwartz doll, and she was released in 2023 during the summertime, I believe, and I think she is so gorgeous. At the time that she was released, I didn't have the money and I wasn't really willing to pay the price that they were asking for her. However, by getting her a little over a year later and without her outfit that she came in originally, that significantly decreased her price for me, and I was able to add her into my collection, which I was so grateful for. And I actually have her wearing the vinyl jumper from Nikki and Isabel's collection. It's also a re-released Pleasant Company outfit, and I just think she looks so stunning in this outfit. I honestly have had her in this outfit for a while now, and I love having her hair in these pigtails too. I know they don't recommend keeping your doll's hair in one single hairstyle for a long time, but I struggle with that because once I have a doll in a hairstyle that I love, it's hard for me to see them without that hairstyle. So I think I might just always keep her in two ponytails, so I'm not that worried about it right now if it did end up creasing a bit, because I think she looks so cute in this look. So she is known as Teddy in my collection, and that was partly inspired because of FAO Schwartz having the signature, I think, teddy bears I'm honestly not very familiar with the company, but I do know that it's a popular toy brand. I think a luxury toy brand as well. And when I was looking at the website, I saw a lot of like teddy bears with like the same like soldier outfit that she was wearing. So that was one reason why I named her Teddy. The other reason was because at the time I was rewatching a couple episodes from Good Luck Charlie. I'm a big fan of Disney Channel, and some days I just love to rewatch shows from when I was a kid. So Teddy is one of the characters on that show, so I thought that this would be a great name for her as well. So very grateful that I was able to add her to my collection, and I'm glad that I was able to wait and add her at a price that was affordable for me. I forgot to mention that if the opportunity does arise, I would love to add her original outfit that she came into my collection, which is this one right here, her toy soldier outfit. The reason though I was looking for specifically just a doll is because I knew it would probably be a pretty penny currently to add both to my collection. So I just prioritized the doll right now. But I do really love that outfit and I think it's super cute on her. So jumping into the next doll, I purchased this one within, I think, the same month. And what had happened was I had reached out to a seller who was selling her dolls or from her daughter's collection. So it's technically her daughter's dolls off of Facebook Marketplace. And I saw that she had a whole bunch of dolls in the listing, but she said that she had more and that she would send more photos at request. So I had reached out to her, and one of the dolls that she did have was a Kaia doll. And Kaia was one of the dolls that I had wanted when I was a kid so bad. And as an adult, I've been pretty picky when it came to which Kaia doll I was going to add to my collection. And looking at the photos that she had sent, this doll was one that I thought really checked those boxes of what I was looking for. So I drove about half an hour to meet with her, and I did end up getting Kaia, and she pulled Kaia out of the box. And so she wasn't wearing this outfit, she was wearing like her meat outfit. And I had told her that I was an adult collector and that this was a doll that I had wanted when I was a kid, and I'm just collecting and enjoying dolls again and fulfilling some of those childhood dreams. And so she pulls the doll out of the box and she was like, oh, then you should hold her, you know, and experience that moment for the first time. And when she handed me this doll, I actually started to tear up a bit because it was just that moment of actually knowing like it's here, like this is Kaia, like this is the first time me holding this doll that I had wanted ever since I was a kid. I had actually even had a baby doll when I was little that I had named Kaia, and this lady was just so sweet, and she's just so supportive too, of like this hobby, and I could tell that she really loved that her daughter collected American Girl, and that she has a lot of love for this company and for the dolls, and it was really a great experience. So I hope to maybe purchase even some other accessories or dolls or outfits from her in the future as she continues to sell part of their collection. So I'll bring Kaia closer. I think she's so cute, and I have just loved having her. I am blanking right now on the name of this outfit, so I'll go ahead and put it right here when I go back to edit. But this was an outfit that I had actually bought a couple months in advance, hoping that I would be adding her to my collection. So this next doll I added to my collection in September because I did have some rewards from American Girl, and I was hoping to spend them on a doll. And that is when I added Miss Rapunzel to my collection. And she's very special because she's my first doll from the Disney line. And I have been loving her in this outfit. So this is the New Year's outfit that was re-released in Isabella and Nikki's collection, but originally it was a Pleasant Company outfit for the turn of the century, 1999. And I just think though it looks so good on Rapunzel with her beautiful long hair. And I think the lighting might have changed again when I brought her a bit closer, but hopefully you're still able to see just how beautiful she is. Sorry about that. I did just have to stop for a second and change the lighting, but I was just so grateful though to add her to my collection, and I did have some rewards to help with that too. So I would be interested if you have any Disney dolls in your collection. I'm so new to collecting the Disney line. I was kind of late to the game. I know the first three, I believe Ariel, Cinderella, and Tiana were released in the spring of 2023. So I had added Rapunzel to my collection in September of 2024. So I was about a little late, about a year late, but that's just the way I am as a collector. I don't usually add like the newest dolls to my collection right when they release. I think it goes back to as a kid. I rarely was able to do that, so I love the idea of anticipating a doll and the excitement of looking through the catalog at a doll and seeing other people open this doll, and really letting that excitement build before I add them to my collection. And that was something that I would do as a kid a lot. I would look at like the Girl of the Year doll throughout the entire year of hoping to then add her to my collection for Christmas. So I think that that's something that I've carried into my adult collection. That doesn't mean that I don't do that sometimes. Sometimes I definitely add like a newer doll to my collection right after she releases, which we'll see a bit later with a doll that I purchased. But I do also sometimes like to wait and really build that excitement. Speaking of waiting and building the excitement, this next doll I actually wanted as a kid, and this is a Truly Me doll. And you may have noticed in my childhood collection video that I didn't have any Truly Me dolls in my childhood collection. There were a few though that I did want that was on my wish list, but I never got around to it. So this doll I had wanted ever since I was a kid, to the point that I even had a name picked out for her. And that is Truly Me number 38. And I actually purchased her from shopgoodwill.com, and she was in pretty rough shape. So I sent her into the doll hospital in November of 2024, and she received a new doll head, and I think I also got her like new limbs as well. And this doll is so cute, and it's so awesome to have her in my collection. It still just doesn't feel real to me, but the reason this doll stood out to me as a kid is I loved her like strawberry blonde hair with the freckles. I know some people say that she looks like some other Truly Me dolls, but to me, this was the one that I wanted as a kid, so that's why I really wanted number 38. So the name I had picked out for her was Leah. However, there's a Girl of the Year doll, 2016, named Leah. So when I was a kid, I wanted to get one named Leah, and then I was going to get a second number 38 and name her Lynn. And they were going to be twins. So since American Girl used Leah for a Girl of the Year doll, I decided to name this one Lynn. So I do hope to add like a twin to her collection, maybe using like number 36 or like another doll that I think could be comparable to her as her twin. I won't name that twin Leah, but I do feel like she needs a twin, just because in my mind this doll was going to have a twin if I would have had her in my collection when I was little. So I'm so grateful though that I have her now, and I have her wearing this super cute outfit. It's one of the Truly Me outfits that I had actually purchased from the Facebook Marketplace lot that I had opened in my first video on this channel. And I just think it looks so cute on her. And I'm blanking on the name for this one, so I'll go ahead and put it right there. So this next doll is the exception to what I said earlier, because I did actually order her on her release day, and that is Miss Moana. And the reason I ordered her is because I absolutely fell in love with her when I saw the leaked stock photos, and I am a big fan of her movie. I still haven't seen the second movie. I really need to, but I'm a big fan of her first movie, and I had went to watch it in theaters with a friend from high school, which is a great memory for me. So I love this doll so much. So I think I did kind of get that anticipation a bit before she actually was released because of seeing the stock photos. I'm pretty sure we saw them a couple weeks before this doll was actually available for pre-order. And I know American Girl, I think, also even advertised her on their website a bit before she was available. So because of that, I did get some of that anticipation, but I did buy her a bit sooner than I typically would after a doll is released. So I have her wearing the Earth Day outfit, which is a Pleasant Company outfit, and I think this just looks so cute on her. I purchased this outfit, I think, within the same month of adding Moana to my collection. So actually, as soon as she arrived, I immediately put her in this outfit, and I have not changed her since. I think she just looks so cute. and I keep looking down just because I'm trying to make sure these sandals don't fall off. These love to fall off. If anyone has a trick to make like these Pleasant Company type sandals or American Girl sandals not fall off, let me know, because they're constantly falling off my dolls. But nevertheless though, I think I'm going to be keeping her in this outfit for a while because she's such a stunning doll. So now we are down to the last doll that I added to my collection in 2024, and this doll was a Christmas gift from my husband. However, I did help him pick her out, I think back in November when American Girl was having a lot of really great sales and one-day deals. This doll went on sale, so she did come in early, so that just really added to the anticipation of adding this doll to my collection and having to wait very patiently, but I did. And that is because she is the 2024 holiday doll that was released. She is the pink Stardust collector doll with the Claudie face mold, and she is so cute. And I think the stock photos don't even do her justice, of course, because she's so much more stunning in person. But when I saw that they had released a Claudie mold collector doll, I knew that I just had to have her in my collection some way, somehow. So what I did is I actually sold her outfit that she had came in, the pink dress and accessories, to kind of offset the cost that we had paid for her, since it was a bit more than what our Christmas budget was for, which I was okay with because, as I mentioned earlier, I kind of care a bit more about the dolls than I do the collector outfits that they come in, and that allowed me to be able to add her to my collection within a budget that felt right for us. And I have named her Willow in my collection. She loves nature. She also loves the color purple, as you can tell. I did actually just have her in the Midnight Bat costume for some reason. I think I put that on her for a bit because of the fact it's also purple, but she is so cute and she can rock any outfit that I put her in. So right now she's wearing Mary Ellen's original school outfit, and then she doesn't have the original shoes. These are just white sneakers from Temu, and she just looks so cute. I'll go ahead and bring her closer to the camera too, so you can just see how beautiful she is up close. And she does have different, her hair is brown and like a lighter brown, and I just think the ringlets are so beautiful. I, again, can't say enough good things about this doll. She's so cute. If you are still thinking about maybe purchasing her, I know she is still available as of now on the American Girl website, so I would definitely say don't hesitate to add her to your collection. I've seen so many other people adding her to their collection, or some people have also been customizing her, and she just looks so great customized too. So really, I just think there's no way to go wrong with this doll. She's just stunning no matter what you do. So I would definitely say, if you're thinking about it, maybe add her to your collection, or if you already have her in your collection, I would love to know that too, because she's just so cute. So if you stayed to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I honestly have no idea how long this is going to be, but it does wrap up my mini-series on introducing the dolls in my collection. I have added one doll so far in 2025, but I'm going to save that doll for a video later on where I can include her with some other dolls that hopefully I'll add into my collection this year. So looking ahead, I would love to film a video soon just to share with you all my collection goals of what I see for my collection in the future. I'm kind of a dreamer. I have a lot of grand ideas. I always have. When I was a kid, I used to dream about opening my own American Girl shop where I could display my collection and sell dolls. And I actually had this one spot picked out on a corner in my town. It was actually an old rundown gas station that had been abandoned for years, but it had like a building and like a parking lot. They ended up tearing it down, so that actually is not going to happen. But I've always been a dreamer when it comes to my collection and when it comes to my dolls, so I would love to share some of those dreams with you all. And I'd love to hear the dreams that you have for your collection too. So I'll probably be making that video some point soon, so feel free free to like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things if you would like. I just want to thank you all again so much for tuning in and being a part of my doll collecting journey. I really didn't know what this YouTube thing was going to look like when I started it, filming a few weeks ago, but I have just been overwhelmed by everyone's support and getting to know people in the comments. So I would love to hear some of the dolls that maybe you've added to your collection recently, if you would like to share those too with me in the comments. Thank you so much again, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day. See you next time. Bye!